Right, what is up, everyone? Caleb here, and in this video, I want to talk about our process. So we're getting a lot of questions on how we book meetings for agency owners out there. So if you run an agency business, you want more appointments, you want to book more appointments, and you want to have your calendar filled. This is going to be like a 4-page doc on everything I wrote down in terms of 3 fundamental things that we do to book more meetings. You can see with the headline there, more meetings than most agencies do in 6 months, all in 1 month for our clients. So if you're an agency and you're looking to get more appointments and you want to have 6 times the amount of meetings that you usually do per month, I want you to watch this video. Now, before we get into that, I wanted to talk about our philosophy when it comes to booking more meetings. So I believe that if you understand the philosophies with booking more meetings and increasing sales every month, you have to understand the philosophy that goes behind it. So if you look at most agencies, they're sending out about 500 to 1,000 emails a day, let's say outbound emails. Some do way less. I've talked to agency owners that don't do any, worst case scenario. So let's say that you're sending out, let's say that you understand that appointments take volume, and so you're doing the effort of at least sending out 500 to 1,000 emails a day. Okay, if you're not sending out emails, that's a whole different conversation. I don't know why agencies want it, but let's keep things pretty simple. So here's one thing that we understand, right, is that with volume, a lot of things are possible, right? To be able to book 6 months of meetings into 1 month, it requires for you guys to be able to understand volume. And every one of our clients that work with us, we get to understand the correlation between input and volume and output, which is sales and appointments. Okay, and so it's very important. All of our team members understand this. So all of our outbound team members understand this. Our own department, when it comes to booking meetings, understands that this concept is a cause and effect. And so, for example, if you could send out 10,000 emails in a day, let's just put out the number there, right? I know people that are sending out 10,000 emails a day. We're soon to be doing that for our clients. If you could send out 10,000 emails in a day versus another company, another agency that's doing 500 in a day, what this means is that you're literally moving 20 times faster. Think about how crazy this is. All right, so we're not talking about like 2x faster, 3x faster, 4x faster. You're literally going 20x faster, 20x by sending out 10,000 emails in a day versus 500. And even if you saw just 15x the amount of results, that's still 15 times the amount of results that you would get, amount of appointments. And so this has a cause and effect on everything that you have in your client acquisition process, which means 15 times the amount of leads, 15 times the amount of appointments, and 15 times the amount of sales. And so whenever an agency comes to us and they're saying that they're not getting enough appointments from emails, the number one question is, how many emails are you sending out per day? Because the problem might not be changing the scripts, changing the offer, even though all of those things will help. If you're still playing a small game, you will see small results. Right, so let me say that again. If you're still playing a small game, which means small volume, you will still see small results. Doesn't matter if you have a great response rate. Doesn't matter if you're getting a great lead response rate. If you're still playing small, then you're not going to see the best results. Whereas I'd much rather, in any day of the week, take volume, right? Because with volume, you could solve a lot of things, right? Even if we're getting a low response rate, let's say that we're getting 1% and sending out 500 emails. By just containing that 1% and going to 10,000 emails a day will instantly solve our problem, our bottleneck of not getting enough responses. And most times, it's just understanding this philosophy that instead of thinking small and trying to see how we can work things from being small, think the large game, think very, very big. And usually, just by thinking big and going big, you'll get something out of that. Way more than just trying to play the small game. All right, so the key with any agency that wants to book more meetings when it comes to outbound, let's say paid ads aren't working, or just paid ads are very unpredictable. A lot of ad accounts getting banned. Client, acquisition, cost per acquisition is going up, and it's very saturated. Your key to making this work with outbound which is very, by the way, very inexpensive when it comes to getting meetings and getting clients. The key is just to find out how you can set out more input. Right, so how can you put in more input and get way more output by just putting more into the machine? And again, this trickles down into the amount of leads that you get, the amount of appointments that you get, and the amount of sales that you get. And so that's our philosophy. We understand this one thing very simply, and we know that the game that we want to play is volume. And if we can play the volume game better than anybody else, we will not have a problem with booking appointments. And we'll do what most agencies do in 6 months, we'll do in 1 month. All right, so here's a screenshot of in the month of July. These were the numbers that we did when we were just building out our outbound team when it comes to DMs. And you can see right here, I mean, this is still not a lot, right? I know people that are sending out thousands of DMs per day. And so we're definitely working up to that point. But this is when we were first starting out. We were doing a lot of hiring and firing, finding the right people. And it came out to be 1632. So we sent out 1,632 messages in this week. And it was about 5 days that we did this for. Again, we were going through training, but this is the amount of input that we did. So when we talk about input, this is the number that I want you guys to look at. Okay, because everything else, positive responses, booking links being sent, meetings being booked, meetings being taken, it's all a correlation of this number right here, which is the amount of new messages that we sent out. If this number was 400, and even if we had a great response rate, even if we had a great meeting book rate, just because we're playing at 400, it's still very hard to see these numbers, right? And so it's much easier to solve. Again, the philosophy is if I can solve this number and just put all my time and energy in figuring out how I can increase the amount of new messages that we're sending out on a daily basis, that will correlate into everything else in your client acquisition process. Right, you can see right here we had 16% response rate. Instead of me trying to figure out how I can go from 16 to 20, right, which is still something that we want to figure out, but more of what I'm trying to figure out is instead of just trying to change these numbers here, right, because all of these numbers is a direct correlation to this number, how can I just change this number? And usually that's the problem with most agencies. They don't focus on how to increase this number. Yes, follow-ups are still important. Yes, getting meetings booked are still important. Converting at a high conversion rate from lead to appointment is still important, but what's most important is playing the bigger game, which is setting out more DMs. Okay, and I'm going to take a screenshot of our upcoming week and show you guys the difference that this makes with new messages. The second thing, now when we talk about, okay, we're sending out volume, usually that's the very first thing that we have to solve. How do we make sure that we're converting or that we're getting as many people that we're contacting to respond back with a positive response, which basically would be a lead. And so in order to do that, you need to have a great offer, right? And so this is the number one thing that we usually work on. I'd say volume first, but we need to start with a great offer, right? And so if you look at this as a second philosophy or second thing going into how to book more appointments for agencies, if you're struggling right now to book appointments, I use this principle a lot in my own life, as well as our clients' businesses, as well as our business as well. It's just take the concept of the 80-20 principle. And I made a post about this the other day, so if you did not read that, I highly suggest that you read back and read the post. And the 80-20 principle is basically 20% of the things that we do produce 80% of the results. All right, so 20% of the things that you guys do, whether it be in your business, your life, your relationships, that produces 80% of the results. And so 20% of your relationships produce 80% of your happiness. 20% of the foods that you consume produce 80% of the disease out there in the world. 20% of the things that you do in business produce 80% of the results. And so when I took this concept, I read the book. There's a great book called The 80-20 Principle. I read through that and I asked myself, okay, well, what's the 80-20 when it comes to client acquisition? The reason why we decided to become an appointment setting agency is because we realized the 80-20 of helping another agency would be to help them with their sales. And the 80-20 of helping them with their sales is just booking as many meetings as possible. And so the question arises, how do I pick the 80-20? What's the 20% of things that is going to produce 80% of the results when it comes to booking more meetings? And this was a journey of itself. We worked with 20 clients, very first couple of weeks that we ran out this offer. And I kept bumping my head like, why would some clients crush it and some clients would struggle? And I look at the correlation and there's a lot of variables here. What's the 80-20 of this? What are 20% of the things that clients are doing that are crushing it, doing that the other clients are not doing? And the biggest difference was their offer. Now we saw that the clients that were absolutely crushing it with appointments and closing deals had a really good offer. And I mean by good, I mean great, a great offer. And so once I realized this, if you want to hop on a sales call with us and you want to work with us on our pay per show model where you don't pay any hidden fee, no setup fee, nothing like that, you just pay us per show call that we get you for your offer. I am now making it mandatory because of the fact that I understand this principle, this 80-20 principle, and I understand that if you don't want to change the 20% of the things that is going to produce 80% of the results, you might as well not be a client. In fact, I don't want you to be a client because why would I exchange the 20% of the things that really matter just because I want to go with your process? Right? If things have not been working for you, that is why we're hopping on calls and you're talking with us. And so why would I continue to run the same offer that is the sole reason why you're coming to talk with us? And so now it's mandatory for every client that wants to work with us, making it mandatory for us to have a great offer. And so all of the clients that are struggling right now, or all of our clients that are seeing results, we're switching everyone to a performance-based offer. The reason why we decided to make this mandatory is that this allows us, when we go about sending out new messages, sending out our emails, we're giving the market what it wants. Right? If you think about the performance model and how that plays an effect in the agency, there's been retainers thrown around. There's a lot of people that are burnt in the past, and they just don't want to have to deal with paying for results that they don't get. And so to give them what they want, which is I only want to pay for the results I get, which is fair in business, that's exactly what we do when we send out the messages. So now when we're sending out the emails, we're sending out the DMs, we're giving them what they want and framing it. When we do the scripts, when we do the outbound messages, we're telling them that they only pay us for the results that they get. And this is what, you guys hear all the time, give the market what it wants, give the market what it wants. What does that truly, truly mean? And are you going to implement it? Because at the end of the day, you guys can take this and, I understand how to give the market what it wants, but are you actually going to do it? Are you actually going to test it to see for yourself that this is the actual answer? And so after doing this and giving the market what it wants and switching everyone to a performance-based offer, we had Jared the other day who has not closed a client get a verbal commitment. One of his very first sales calls is able to get a verbal commitment and cash collect on Friday. And so when we give the market what it wants and we switch over to everyone, if you're running an agency, run a performance-based offer, when we switch to that, result of that is more leads, more appointments, and more cash for your agency. And we frame the performance-based model so that you can still collect cash on the call. Because that's the number one concern is like, well, how do I collect cash? I don't want to just do results and not collect cash. We do it in a way, we frame it in a way where you get cash up front. And oftentimes with our clients, they're collecting way more cash than they usually would with a retainer-based model. And the fulfillment and everything's the same. Really, the offer is the same. It's just we're wording in a way where the message actually resonates with the market. Okay. So what I always say is when the clients start to work with us, if you've been running the same old offer for 6 months now, we need a clean house. We need a clean house, and we need to actually test what the market wants. And if you're not willing to do these moments where you've been doing the same things for 6 months, you're not seeing the results, you're not willing to test out new things to get feedback from your market, then you're doing a disservice. You're literally gonna go 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, having to struggle with appointments, having to struggle with getting new clients, and you're gonna ask yourself 5, 10 years down the line, what was the problem? And the problem was that you just didn't take what the market wanted. You didn't take the time to send out enough volume to find out what does resonate with the market, and then actually shift your business model, your offer towards this. Okay, so like I said, you don't have to take my word for it. Test a new offer, test a performance-based offer, see how the market responds. At the end of the day, the market dictates what they want. right? You're selling to them. They're buying from you. And so you don't determine what they want to buy. Can't go to somebody and say, hey, listen, I want you to just buy this. Okay? The process of buying something is because they want to buy it, because they want change. They want something that is going to be a benefit in their life, not what you think is going to be a benefit for their life. They need to see the benefit in their own life, and they need to want to buy it. Okay? So it's not about you. It's not about what you feel like they want. It's not about what you think that they need. It's about giving them what they actually want and running with that. So what do they actually want? What does the market want? Go out, figure that out, um, and then see how to make that work. Okay. And we break down all of this for our clients. So when the clients come on, I have them share their screen. We break down their numbers. We see what's going wrong, and we look at how much input are they putting in. So we look at the volume, then we look at the offer, and we look at how many people are responding to this offer. Right? We're not going to change what is working, but most times the problem and the reason why people come to us is not booking appointments. The reason why they're not booking appointments is usually their messaging is not converting, so not giving the market what it wants. They're not selling clients because of the fact that they're not selling them what they want, right? And it's just causing more headaches, more friction to the process. And this is purely why we moved over from consulting over to just done for you paper show, where we're just giving people, like, you guys have seen the offer, maybe you guys have had some interest of like wanting to work with us, because I understood this concept. I understood that, I don't dictate what the market wants. The market dictates what they want, and I give them what they want. That's my only job. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. And in terms of operations, we're figuring out how to make sure that we can fulfill on this offer, instead of trying to come up with an offer that I think that they need that would make it easier for us in operations. It's the wrong way to do business. It's lopsided. All right. So test a new offer, send more volume with that new offer, give the market what it wants, and then see the results for yourself. Last thing here is follow up. All right. So us running, obviously our company is called Organic Outbound. The thing that we focus on is being proactive, right? That's one of our core values as a company. And when it comes to our clients and getting results, it's, follow up. When I look at follow up is being proactive, right? It's like, if you have a vendor that you're working with, and you need to make sure that this project gets done, in 2 weeks, I'll show you I'll tell you an example of what following up doesn't look like. Is, let's say that you have a deadline by 2 weeks, you need this project done, and it's totally up to the vendor to get it done. A very reactive approach that I see a lot of agency owners doing with their appointments, with the leads that they're getting, is that they just wait. They wait until the 2 weeks is up, and then they go to the person and say, okay, listen, this is done. This has to be done. And by then it's already too late. By then the lead's already gone. And by then you missed the deadline. By following up, it's, okay, I need to get this done in 2 weeks. This vendor is going to be the one that gets it done. But in order for me to be proactive about making sure that they do get it done, and to make sure that it's certain that it's going to be done in 2 weeks, I'm going to have a check-in point on Tuesday, then on Thursday, then on Friday, then again on Monday, then again on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'm going to follow up every single day until the 2 weeks is over, to make sure that I'm being proactive in our communication to make sure it gets done. And it's the same thing with follow-up. I see a lot of businesses. This is where I know they lack in their sales process, is being able to follow up, right? Because at the end of the day, we can generate a bunch of leads, but if we can't cross the finish line, it's absolutely useless. What's the point of starting the race and not finish it, right? But for some reason, I think we think that client acquisition is different. Like, we get a lead, and we got a lead, oh great, and we get this dopamine rush, we get excited, but the job's not finished, right? We need to be able to take the leads that we get them to show up to a meeting, and then close them. And so follow up and outbound is very much more, it's not really a process, right? I don't really explain it as a process, because the process is simple. You follow up, you make outbound dials, you make outbound efforts, you be proactive in your sales approach. That's what outbound is. And so it's nothing new. I mean, it makes sense. Like, yeah, of course, I have to follow up with people. I have to be more proactive. I have to reach more people to get more sales. So it's not really a process. It's a mentality. It's a mentality that the founder needs to have, the CEO needs to have, or the sales manager needs to have, in order for everybody else on the team to have the same approach. All right, you guys all know this. You have this one friend that has a bad mentality. If you surround yourself with people that have bad mentalities, like nothing's gonna get done. Right? Just because, you're telling me that you want me to have a better mindset, but you have a poor mindset, and everyone else in our team has a poor mindset about this, then what good is that going to do? Like, why would I want to change? Right? And so this usually starts with the founder. This usually starts with the person in charge of the sales department to make sure that he understands that outbound is a mentality and that he needs to be in the mentality first for the team to then follow. Because the mentality has to be obsessive. It has to be this mentality where the job's not finished until they show up and they get closed. Right? So to have this mentality, it takes great systems, right? Because you got to make sure that the systems are there. But again, you can have great systems if you don't have this mindset where we're going to go and track every lead that comes into our pipeline and make sure that we follow up, then this is not going to work. Okay? But you don't have the best systems, and it's okay systems, right? We have okay systems, and we're working to make it great. But we just have this mindset where it's like, okay, it's just outbound, 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 because we're proactive. And that came down from me as a founder, as a CEO, and bleeds down into the company. And that's why everybody on our team has this mindset to go and hunt for deals. But if I didn't have this mindset, then no one on our team feels even the need to have this mindset. Why would they? I see this so many times. Like I see founders and CEOs, they say, "Oh, I'm not a sales guy." I'm not a sales guy, right? But I care about sales. And if I look at what's most important in sales, a lot of that has to do with just making sure that you guys have this proactive communication and you're hunting for deals instead of just waiting around. Just like waiting for the leads to come in, waiting for appointments to come in. We need to be more proactive. You, the founder, need to be more proactive. You need to have this mindset, bleed it, and ingrain it first, and then bleed it off to your team. Again, if you don't do this, your team will be a reflection of you, and you'll always wonder, why are we not booking appointments? Why are we not, being able to convert? It all comes down to you, right? So if you want your team to follow up more, then you need to set the example. You need to follow up more, not just one day, every freaking day. Every freaking day, you need to show an example. You need to be the example that you want them to be. All right, so let me just kind of break this down as the difference for what I mean by follow-up. All right, so let's say that we get 100 leads in a month. Okay, if let's say our follow-up is weak, let's say that we convert 20 of these leads into an appointment. So we convert 20 appointments out of 100 leads. Okay, the formula, if you guys are looking for a formula to see how good your follow-up is, and you can do this as a real test, is take the amount of appointments that you guys have booked, divide that by the amount of lead flow that you guys have gotten, and that's your follow-up game. All right, so if you guys actually want to see what your follow game looks like, don't not what it feels like. If you actually want to see what it looks like and get a hard percentage, take your appointments, divide that by the amount of lead flow that you guys are getting per month, and that will be your follow game or follow percentage. So in this example, if we convert 20 out of the 100 leads into an appointment, our follow game is at 20%. Okay, and honestly, this probably falls around the range, right around the range that we see with our clients before we come in and start to do the work that we do. It's usually falling around like 20, 30, maybe possibly 40%. So let's take the sample, and let's say to show you the potential of follow-up is if you take the 20% and let's say that you convert and boost that up to 60%. So now you went from 20 to 60%. So you go from 20 meetings to 60 meetings. And that's 3x the amount of appointments that you guys have got from just doing that, from just improving your lead follow-up game. Okay, and the crazy thing is the number of leads that we got stay the same. And that's the crazy thing is that you guys don't have to spend more money. You guys don't have to do anything more. No, like you don't have to do any more marketing, none of that. All you have to do is just make sure that your follow-up game is better, which is just being, again, it's all mentality of making sure that I'm going to get every lead to convert to an appointment. If you can have that mentality, that will make the shift for you and your team, and you'll get 3x the amount of appointments with the same amount of lead flow. No more money spent, just making sure that you squeeze the juice out of the leads that come in. Okay, so most scenarios, if you're an agency, okay, if you're not getting any leads, that's a problem. But most businesses, they have lead flow, they have leads coming in, You just need a better outbound process and a better follow process to make sure that you squeeze the juice that you're getting. So everything, all the leads that you're getting, you're making sure that you're having a process and that you're following up and you're doing everything that you can in terms of outbound to make sure that they turn into an appointment. I can almost promise you the agencies that you guys think are crushing it as a competitor, they don't have like way more leads than you. You know, it's not like the agency that's crushing it, you know, next door is getting like 5x the amount of leads. Most likely they just have a better offer, they have a better follow-up game, they have a better mentality when it comes to outbound, and they understand volume, which goes hand in hand with outbound. Okay, volume, outbound, hand in hand. All right, so I'm gonna leave you with this. All right, so you have two things you can do. Number one, you can take all the information I gave you in this video and you can implement it. I promise you guys, if you guys actually listen and go through all of this, okay, if you need a doc, let me know and I'll send this over to you. If you take everything I talked about here and implement it, you guys will see results. So that's number one. That's the point of this video, is I want to give you guys that option to be able to do that. This is more than enough information for you to be able to do that. Or number two is you can have our team handle this all for you, right? And we can show you in that process of us doing it for you, can also show you how we do this as our team, right? How we follow up, how we have this mentality, how we change your offer, how we do volume. And we'll show you how we do it. And we do it for other agencies. We do it for countless amount of agencies, and we can do it for your agency as well. And we can lead by example, and you can see how we do this. All right. So here's an offer for you guys. If you want us to pay us only for showed calls for the next 10 agency owners, all right, a local lead gen agency. If you run a local lead gen agency, for the next 10 agency owners, we're going to offer a pay per show model where you only pay us for every show call that we get you for this new offer, right? We'll change the offer for you, which is the performance-based offer. It's going to allow you to get more leads, more appointments, more cash, and way more clients. And it's just pivoting the way that you're messaging. All right, there's no setup fee, no hidden costs to get started for us. We just ask for a very small deposit for us to get started for the appointments that we're going to generate for you. Again, we'll install this new offer for your agency so that you can stand out from the crowd and actually be able to book more appointments, have conversations, give the market what it wants, which is the reason why you're not being able to book appointments. We'll write out all the scripts for you guys. We'll write out all your email scripts. We'll set up everything. We'll get your cold emails out. We'll send volume for you. All right, we'll solve that problem for you. We'll book the appointments for you. We'll dial the appointments for you. And on top of that, we'll make sure that they even show up. And this is all handled by our team and our outbound process. So we take the systems that we use to be able to book 81 meetings in our company in a very bad week when we're just starting off. We'll show you how we do that, and we'll do it for you with this offer. All right, so if you're interested in hearing more, what I want you to do is I want you to shoot me a DM. And the worst thing is we just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be a sales call. You don't have to make a commitment to be able to invest. Again, this is only for the 10 agency owners that hop on this. And you're only paying us per show call. So we're completely performance-based. There's no setup fee. There's no hidden cost. You're only paying us for every show call. If you're interested in just having a conversation, then shoot me a DM. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's see how we can fix your appointment issue. You know, you don't want to let this kind of die out another 6 months or another 12 months and have to, you know, start in the same situation you were last year. All right. So shoot me a DM. We'll talk. And either way, take what I gave you, implement it, or just have a conversation with us. I'm fine with either or. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.